Hello, guys. I'm live. It's Monday, late, 6:21 p.m. here where I am on the West Coast. but it's probably much later, 2 or 3 hours later, if you are in another state or another part of the country. But hello to everybody. No one's watching live yet, so hello to future viewers. We'll see if anybody hops on here. I have one person. Cool. So the title of this video is, let's see, I tried to sell CDs and books at a swap meet, which I tried to do yesterday being Sunday. Well, I'm exaggerating a bit because I did more than try. I did sell some, but basically it was my first attempt at any sort of, hello, Stephen, how you doing? At any sort of swap meet, flea market, in-person selling, basically, aside from doing like garage sales, but which I've done a few times, but not really for trying to do that as a way to move books or CDs. But yeah, aside from that, this was the first time and it was exhausting. So I'll say I could be really negative about it because basically I broke even, which is crazy. But I learned some lessons that I don't really want to do a swap meet. And also, apparently there's a difference between a swap meet and a flea market. To me, a flea market sounds way less appealing, or like that's the one that you can make less money at, and a swap meet you can make more money at. But apparently it's the other way around. I don't understand why they named it a flea market. But regardless, there are other flea markets, in where I live, that would be a possibility. But basically, so I went there yesterday morning pretty early, about 6:40, got there and parked, and everything was new to me. So I had to, there were already tons of people setting up and had set up already. One of the people right next to me in the space next to me had already set up everything. They were clearly there very early. So I was, hi, Janessa. I was a little bit late to the party, but I was told that most people did not start setting up until like around 7 or so. But anyway, so I started setting up, and basically, I don't want to talk about or just make the video about it, but I basically broke even. I made, or rather, I sold about I sold exactly $169 worth of books and CDs. I was selling and when I say books, I mean kids' books. Kids' books were a big hit in general, and I put them right up front, and a lot of people were attracted to my space because of that. And then the CDs were a pretty good hit as well. Just having CDs at all, but also I had a lot of them. I probably had like 1,000 CDs out, and there were people spending like anywhere from a few minutes to 20 minutes or more even going through the CDs. The people that were a little more serious about it were really looking for certain things, because of course I didn't have it categorized by genre. That would take too much time, considering, hi Charlotte, considering that I'm only selling them for $1. So for me to organize all of them, even to just generally organize them, would probably not be worth my time unless it really worked into the flow of me going through CDs, through the Gaylord of CDs. But that's pretty time consuming. Hey Terry. So basically, what do you call it? People were having to hunt and peck to find the types of CDs they wanted. There was nobody that came up to me that said, oh, can I buy a bunch of them at once, or how much for all of them, or anything like that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I was hoping that would, but it didn't. There wasn't anybody there who was looking to buy a ton of CDs to, I don't know, sell them somewhere else for more money, because I would have made them a deal for sure, just to get rid of them, just to move them. But yeah, and I also had fiction books, so adult fiction books, whatever, all different types that were on a different table, because the CDs took up 2 tables. I had another table with the kids' books, and I had another table with fiction books. And I think I only sold a couple of fiction books, to be honest, and hardly anybody looked at them. I also had a couple things. I had some language. Pimsleur has those really expensive language programs, language learning, language acquisition programs, usually on CDs. and I had two of them for sale. One of them I sold for 20 bucks. And I think I sold a video game for a couple bucks. I had a few records. I sold a few records. Yeah, basically. So like I said, I sold $169 worth of mostly CDs and kids books and a few other random stuff, and hardly any fiction books. So it was my first time trying this out. I'm probably not going to go back to this one. I'm debating about even trying like a flea market, one that is known as being pretty busy. And also, the other thing is this one happens every Sunday. And the other one I'm thinking about happens only once a month. So there's that scarcity aspect. But honestly, even if I had made, $500 in profit, or if I were to make that at a different one, I honestly don't know if it's worth the effort, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of physical work. You gotta prepare everything. You gotta put everything in boxes. Then you gotta fill up your vehicle, bring along some tables, bring along a tent, bring along a chair, etc. And you gotta drive to the location. Then you gotta set it all up. So you gotta take it all out, unpack everything, and then of course, even if I had a great day, I wouldn't sell everything. So then you gotta repack everything that's left. And this time, the majority of it was, only sold $169 worth. So I don't know exactly how many CDs that was, but it wasn't that many. And the kids' books I was selling for pretty cheap. The picture books for $4 for $1, and the chapter books for $2 for $1. So I was selling a lot more of those in terms of quantity. But basically, yeah, it was not very successful, to say the least. And as a learning experience, though, I learned that I probably don't want to do that again. A flea market is a possibility, but it's a big maybe. The other ones are trade shows, where I could go to different types of trade shows and tailor the books towards the people that would attend the show, or the event. Tailor the books towards their potential needs, or interests, rather, their interests. So it would be like, whatever it would be, whatever trade show, you would just have books that would have a lot to do with it, and then there could also be some fiction books. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I had to do. I was told by the person that when I purchased the spot, that it's been slower at their swap meet recently, and it's been really, really hot this summer here where I live in Southern California. So that might have something to do with it. Maybe it's better when it cools off a bit in a couple months, that type of thing. But yeah, it was just way too much work. Like I said, just the amount of work, I would have to make a lot more money. I just don't think it's worth it. It just made me think. It made me appreciate eBay more, because I don't have to leave my house to do eBay, other than shipping stuff and getting boxes together. I take the photos and all that, and I complain about it, but it makes me appreciate it. Making some money off of this extra stuff that I get, and it also makes me think about the possibility of eventually getting a warehouse space and doing my own little bookstore, my own little monthly sales, that type of thing, as a way to deal with the duds, the CD duds, or the non-Amazon CDs, the non-Amazon books. So I would say that if you're going to try a swap meet or a flea market, even, that you should probably do your research. Ideally, if you can, is visit it as a buyer, just going around seeing what's out there, how well, how well attended it is, how many people show up, how many vendors, the kind of things that are being sold, etc., that type of thing, and kind of weigh it and see, is it worth it? If because there was a 2-hour stretch there, and kind of in the like later morning to closer to noon. Excuse me. That there was a good flow of people, but it was not like it was packed. There was a couple, maybe like a little bit of time there where people were passing by. It was like a steady stream, but it was definitely not like a packed place where people were bumping into each other, and you were having a hard time walking around. Kind of like if they have the LA County Fair here in Southern California, and I went for the first time last year, and I hated it because there were so many people. And granted, that's not a swap meet, but just the amount of people it was just thick with people. It was hard to walk and navigate. So I couldn't imagine that there'd be a flea market or swap meet like that. But even just closer to that, just being more packed and more people, just to have the opportunity to sell. I mean, there was a couple of times where, yeah, I had a lot of people looking at the kids' books, a lot of people looking at the CDs, but no one was looking at the fiction. It was weird. Yeah, like a crowded library sale. Hello hello to Atlanta. Okay, Kofi says, my friend always goes to the gun show and garden shows. Oh, I didn't know there were garden shows. Okay. And he does this 8 times a year, and he does $600 to $800. The cost of each show is $150. Is that $600 to $800 profit, or $600 to $800 minus the $150? I'd be curious to know. But that's what I was talking about trade shows. So there's a guy on Profit. Yeah, there's a guy. And the other thing is, here's the other big benefit to the trade shows is they're inside. So you're out of the sun, you're out of the elements, probably air conditioned. So you don't have to worry about that. That's huge. You don't have to get a tent, a big canopy tent. You don't have to worry about people getting hot or cold or whatever the weather is. Doesn't matter, right? They're gonna, if they want to look at your items, their books, you can do it. So yeah, there's a guy on Facebook that's posted some long, in-depth posts. Oh, hey Ron, it was the Foothill Swap Meet. I think the organization that runs it has like 3 of them throughout Southern California. I think there's another one. That one's in Glendora. There's another one I think in San Bernardino, and then there's another one somewhere else further away. I don't know where it is, but anyway, this one has been around for a few decades, apparently, or a while. At least it's been in this particular location for like 10 years, and before that it was somewhere else. So it's not a new it's not for lack of people knowing about it, I guess, but maybe it's time of the year, weather, I don't know what it is, but yeah, so there's this guy on Facebook that I think he lives in Arizona, but he goes to gun shows to sell books, and he does really well. I guess the last time he did it, he made like, I think what was it? The first time he shared it with us, he made like $1,200 in pure profit. And then the next time he made $1,900. This was over several days though, not one day. So he does like 2 or 3 days, but even just doing one day. So for a gun show in particular, I mean, Kofi was talking about a garden show. That would be different types of books, but he would bring books that had to do, of course, with guns, of course, with shooting, that type of thing, but also things that are related to it, like history books, like war books about particular wars, Civil War, World War II, whatever. What is it? Oh, other stuff that has to do with hiking, apparently. So anyway, like a lot of different genres that people that would attend that type of show might be interested in. And he would have those books up on top of his tables that would be going for more money. And then, yeah, Westerns too. So he would have fiction as well underneath the table, Western, sci-fi, mystery. And he would have mass market paperback, just normal paperbacks, trade paperbacks, and then I guess some hardcovers. And he'd sell those for $1, all the fiction. Unless there was something in particular that was worth more money, then I guess he'd sell it for more. But he had a sign that said, and some of you guys are on the FBA Facebook groups might know about this, but he'd have a big old sign that says everything under the table is $1. And he said he sold like hundreds. I think he said he sold like 400 or something of just the fiction titles. He brought a ton of them, and he kept replenishing them because people go to these shows with wads of cash because they're looking, they're going to spend, they know that things that they might want to buy, whether it's a gun or something related to it, is going to cost them money. So they bring a lot of money. And so buying some books is not a big deal. People were loading up, getting 20, 30, 40 books, especially the fiction ones. And then the other ones that are a little more expensive, even it might be a couple bucks, $5, $4, whatever. But he also sold a couple that were very high priced. I don't know what they had to do with, but I think there was one he sold for over $200 and a couple others that were pretty close to that. So anyway, I knew about that, and I've been looking into that, and I've been actually putting some books to the side in this Gaylord of books I have that have to do with, or that are kind of in those different types of categories. Because there is actually a gun show that's going to happen in at one of the convention centers around here in like less than 2 weeks. So I don't think it makes sense for me to try it though, because I don't have enough of the types of books that people would be interested. I have a ton of fiction, but in terms of all the other stuff, I mean, like I don't even have one book about guns or shooting or ammunition or whatever it is. I found a couple books that had to do with some of the topics that he tries to find books on, but I don't know if I could find enough for that, but I'm sure there'd be other ones. So that's an alternative to doing the flea markets and the swap meets. And I think if I'm going to try this again, I'm probably going to try to go that route. But even so, even though it's indoors, and all, even though it's indoors, it's still a lot of physical work. You still have to load up your vehicle. You got to wheel everything in, set it all up, and it's still work. But I think that just not having to deal with the elements is a big one, and potentially having a good amount of a flow of people coming by who are looking to spend money and have money to spend, and having items that they might be surprised to see. Because another thing that he mentions is he's not the only bookseller at these events usually, but what they're trying to sell mostly are higher priced books, which people buy, but they're not offering a diverse number of or types of books. So when he's offering all those fiction books for really cheap, people just gobble them up, in addition to possibly buying some more expensive books. So anyway, I haven't done this yet. This is just something that I've read about someone who's done it and had success with it as a way to sell books that you don't normally, or that you cannot usually sell on Amazon or maybe even eBay. Yeah, the lady. Yeah, that's the thing he was saying. A lot of the women were, a lot of women would buy a lot of the fiction books, while their husbands would look at all the other types of books, whether they're gun books or books related, different genres that they might be interested in. But a lot of the women would just buy, like he said, they would buy a bunch and they go to their car and come back for more, which makes sense. I mean, if you're into reading fiction books and you read a lot of them, and you can get them for $1, you can't really beat it, honestly. If you're, because I know growing up, like my parents were big readers and I was a big reader, and so if I get books, the types of books I want, fiction books for $1, I mean, I'd buy a bunch of them. Oh, for sure. So yeah, Gary says I'll stick with the lower profit but much lower work of FBA. Well, I mean, that's the other thing that made me realize doing the swap meet, this unsuccessful experiment, is how much I like FBA and why I want to do a lot more of it, because you don't have to go through all of that physical labor. I mean, definitely, me going through the Gaylords is physical labor for sure. That's the way I source when I do bulk. But once you send off the books, it's done. The money will start rolling in and be consistent payouts and consistent daily sales and all that stuff. And there's not so much work involved. There's upfront work to source, to sort, to scan, to list, to ship. But then after that, you're done. I mean, for the most part, barring repricing and getting rid of stuff that is going to get hit with long-term what do you call it? Fees. Yeah. Storage fees. So yeah, it just, it did make me think about how much I like FBA and how eBay's not so bad either. So yeah, that's basically all I had to say about that, unless anyone else has any comments about it or has any experience. But I mean, it might have been the time of year. I don't know. It might just be that swap meet is not as popular as it used to be. Have I sent a pallet to FBA yet? No. I just do the smaller boxes. I mean, as of now, in order for me to do that, I would have to get, I don't know how many books it would be. Well, CDs would be way more CDs, but in terms of books, it would be a lot of books to fill a pallet. I forgot how many boxes that is, but no, I haven't done that yet. I would have to be doing a lot more volume. So right now I'm listing 100, which I mentioned on Friday, around 180 CDs that I for FBA that I pulled out of one of the two Gaylords that I bought last Monday. So I have all those here in my office, and I've already listed like, I don't know, 45 or so. And I'm doing the private mode, which I'll tell you guys about to see how it goes, but through AccelerList. But what do you call it? But it's only 180, so I'll probably, unless there's a couple splits, even if are a couple splits, hopefully not, but since they're all CDs, it's possible they might go to one warehouse. So I'll probably just fit them in one big box. I already weighed all of them together, and it was under 50 pounds. It was like 43, 44 pounds. And I've already pulled 2 out that I'm not going to send for a variety of reasons. Charlotte says, I got 130 books at the library sale this weekend. That's a lot of books. Not many people there. Most were Amazon sellers scanning. So were all of those 130 books, Charlotte, for FBA? Are they all going to FBA? And then how many other actual scanners were there? So we call them scanners as if there's some aliens. How many other resellers were there? Are you talking like just a couple? Were there like 10? Were there like 20? Because to find 130 amongst all those other scanners is good. Either there weren't that many or they weren't doing a very good job. But that's great. 130. I don't know if I've ever found 130 at one library sale on one day. Was that one day? Oh, no, that's right. You said that was multiple days. So yeah, let me know, Charlotte. But that's good. So anyway, okay, so I did the 100. I'm going through the 180 CDs now, and I'm gonna do that as one shipment just to see. I'm still experimenting because I want to see with a bigger shipment of CDs. I want to see if I get even one split. Okay, a friend helped you. So you taught your friend how to scan. That's pretty cool. So 130 items for FBA is really good, especially over the weekend. I mean, you can get those out pretty quickly, I'm sure, and get them to the warehouse. 15 resellers over 3 days. That's a good amount, especially if they were all different ones. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how big the sale was, but that's a good amount. I usually don't see that many. I probably saw that many several years ago when it seemed like there were more booksellers. But the last sale I went to, I didn't see nearly that many. Oh, okay. Kofi says, I just did 300 books and I changed my setting so all can go to one location. Oh, you did inventory placement. It ended up costing about the same as it was going to different locations. Yeah, it's just easier to. So then you had to have multiple boxes. I'm sure probably like what 6 or 7 different boxes. So you had to do the box content deal. That's one thing that I don't want to. Oh, 9 boxes. Okay, but at least they went to the same location. And I'm assume you use FedEx instead of UPS. FedEx seems a little cheaper. Yeah. So another thing, this weekend was kind of crazy between the swap meet. So another thing is that I did. I picked up 15 books, and I don't know. Oops. Okay, so before I talk about that, he says, Ryder says, thanks to you, I started scanning CDs in a thrift store Saturday and came across a reggae CD with 100,000 rank selling for $79. It was only $1. I will probably sell it used like new since the back had a crack. Is it sealed? If it's not sealed, then you could just, well, even if it's sealed, you could replace the back if you have a replacement. I usually don't list like new unless everything is just immaculate. Actually, I would only list like new if it was still shrink wrapped with the little white label on the top. But oh, okay, cool. With the crack, I'm just super like panicky about, I don't know, panicky, but I'm super conservative when it comes to condition. So if I found one sealed and everything else was perfect, it looked like it was new, except there was a crack, I'd probably, oh, I might at best I'd probably do very good, and you still could probably get good money. I mean, probably get the $79, but it's totally up to you. Just disclose it in the condition notes. But that's awesome. So there's a lot of great CDs out there, and if you can sell them on Amazon, you'd be surprised just in thrift stores. I've had luck even in Goodwill thrift stores, which I tend to not have any, or not find very many, if any, books for FBA. It's hit or miss. But when it comes to CDs, I do a lot better, and I think that's because either the Goodwill's not reselling them on Amazon, or they're just missing out on some of them. And people that go in there still to Goodwill to resell, to source, are not looking at the CDs because they can't sell them, or they just don't bother. They prefer books. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad that you found that. I found some great ones in thrift stores. Yeah, and even, you find a CD that's selling for over 20, that you can get over $20 for, and you spend $1 or less. I mean, 79 is like way more, but even just like 20, 25, $30 is a great, I mean, incredible return. But $79 is ridiculous, ridiculously good. So that's awesome. So also this weekend I picked up on Saturday 15 books and roughly, I don't know exactly how many, I just kind of did a rough count, maybe around 60 CDs. And this was from a friend of the family that was looking to get rid of them. Someone passed away basically, and they knew what I do, so they let me. It's almost like I guess like an estate sale. But they're not doing an estate sale, but it's like kind of like that. Oh, that's good. So yeah, so I'm gonna split the profits with this person. I got them for free. I just spent the time scanning, and there's some really valuable books because they specialized in something. They were kind of like a well-known person in their field, and so they had some valuable books, and they were into certain like classical opera. So classical and opera. So there was some good stuff in there, some good CDs as well. So that's also was a benefit. And I'll track those so I can figure out which, split it with them once I get paid on the stuff as it sells. So that was good. That was a good, they wanted to help and they were thankful, and I'm thankful that, I get to split the profit with them because there's some really valuable stuff in there. There's a couple books that are going for hundreds of dollars. So that's cool. Let's see. Well, anyway, so yeah, Charlotte said, one of the Goodwills I go to is across from a college. It is always good for books. So do you know, Charlotte, if that Goodwill sells on Amazon? Because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll collect all the books and they'll send them off to like a regional kind of a deal, and then they'll go through them, and then they'll pull out the ones they want to sell on Amazon and then put the rest on the shelf. Or that Goodwill will do it themselves. They'll be listing on Amazon, or they just won't do it at all, right? And they'll put it all out. So there's still Goodwills, I think, that don't necessarily either don't sell online or aren't that thorough about it. Because you got to remember that people working there are not getting paid that much money, and it depends on how strict or Goodwill is about that. Well, then that's unique. I mean, yeah. In my experience here in Southern California, the Goodwills are just pretty bad when it comes to books. Yeah. Always bring cookies, right, Charlotte? See, I'm bad at that stuff. I wish I was better at schmoozing and networking, and I've been good at being persistent about finding bulk sources, but when it comes to in-person stuff and building those types of relationships, I'm not that great at it. But Charlotte says in Arkansas, cookies go a long way. Hey, they go a long way here in California too, for sure. And it would probably be a surprise if I were to bring some cookies. But I think that would probably work better here at the smaller mom and pop one-off thrift stores that are not chains, that either have one location or one or two. There's a lot of those here, and the owner works there usually all the time, basically lives there, or they have some staff, a few staff, but a lot of times the owner is there, and so you can get to know them if you're good at schmoozing and networking and using cookies and other things. Yeah, for sure. People like to be appreciated. That's true. I agree. I mean, I've talked a lot, not necessarily to the owners, but a lot of people that work at these places as I'm being checked out or, paying or whatever. Sometimes I'll chat with them about stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever edibles. Yeah. Whatever you feel is appropriate, whatever you think will work, go for it. Because for sure, a lot of these thrift stores, whether it's Goodwill or Salvation Army or what is that other one called? I can't remember the name of it, but or it's a standalone mom and pop type of place. A Prime. What do you call it? I forgot what I was going to say. That a lot of times they get more books. My guess is the majority of them, or if not all of them, get more books than they can fit on their shelves out on the floor, the sales floor. So chances are they have a lot of books in the back that either will never see the light of day or will take forever to see the light of day. And if you build a relationship and you bring cookies or, excuse me, you can get along with them and that sort of thing, or bribe them, whatever. Yeah. You can get into the back and you can say, I'll buy your, hey, do you guys have any books in the back that just never come out on the floor? Because, there's no space. Does that ever happen with you guys? Because I've heard about that from other thrift stores. And yeah, I mean, I've heard that before too from others as well. There was one where I said, oh, because they cut down their book section. And I said, oh, well, what happened to all the books? There's purses here now. And there's like only one wall of books instead of three. And she was like, oh yeah, they weren't selling that well. So we put out the purses. And I said, well, what happens to all the extra books? And she's like, oh, we have someone who comes picks them up. And so either that's a recycler or that's somebody who's a reseller who made that connection. I don't know. Okay, Charlotte, good night. Thanks for watching. But yeah, it's good. I haven't really done this, building these relationships. I should have, but I am not very good at it. So fortunately, I went the bulk route and I kind of get the thrift stores delivered to me. And I'm the only one that can get to this stuff. I mean, I'm the only one that gets to these CDs and books because there's a lot of, 180. So out of, it's hard to say exactly how many CDs there were in that Gaylord, but 180. If there were 1,800, that was 10%. There might have been less. I don't think there was more. There's a good amount that didn't have any CDs in it. Not a good amount. A good amount was like a small box that I couldn't find the discs. The disc wasn't in there. It was never in there. When it was donated or whatever, given away, whatever it was, or it was broken or what, So, okay, sorry, hearing something in the background. Terry says Thrift Books has a contract with most places in Alabama to pick up all the unsold books. Cool. Not cool for you, but yeah, Thrift Books is a massive reseller, and they sell a lot merchant fulfilled on Amazon. And I don't know if they have bookstores, but they certainly have enough books to have bookstores. There was the first guy I ever got or bought bulk from, not in Gaylords, but in boxes of CDs. He was selling books on Amazon. And Thrift Books was one of the companies that he was working with. And his duds, he was shipping them out, or they were picking them up because they had so many different ways to sell books. He said that, I don't know how true this was, but he said they had 16 different marketplaces So I don't know if they were online or also offline, bookstores. I don't know, but they had lots of ways to monetize books, so they wanted the duds. Um, but yeah, there's definitely big resell or big operations, mega sellers that gobble up a lot of the books, but there's still tons out there. There's still tons out there. I mean, I have access to a lot, and I'm still trying to figure out the best way to get through more books. I had a thought that because I want to order more than a couple, I want to order probably like 4 Gaylords of books, and then my idea is the problem is always space, guys. Space. But with enough space, my idea is that as I sort a Gaylord of books, the duds, the ones that I don't feel that I can do anything with, after I scan them or just look at them, they might be messed up. They might be too old. It might be a type of book that I don't feel that is just worth it at all, even on an eBay lot, which whatever, unless it's something I feel that would sell well. Anyway, a dud. So I would throw it into there, which would then be picked up by the guy who delivers them to me. So basically, then I think he sells it off to somebody who recycles it. But he'll give me $10 for those full Gaylords of dud books. And then I'll have kids' books go into one Gaylord, and then I'll have fiction go into another one. And then, of course, everything else is FBA. So there's duds, Gaylord of duds, Gaylord of kids' books, Gaylord of fiction books, and then, well, FBA. So I don't even have to throw anything into the trash because that Gaylord of duds can be the trash, basically. So if there's ones, I always pull books out where the cover's ripped off, there's pages missing, it's just like mangled up because it's been squashed by the weight of all the other books. So those are the kind of ones if it's bad, then it's stained or whatever, then it would be going into the dud Gaylord pile. My dud Gaylord now is about half full, and I'm 3/4, if not more, through the entire book Gaylord that I got last Monday or a week ago. And as I've been going through it, and now that I've done the swap meet, and I think that the kids' books are valuable because a lot of people want, kids' books. A lot of parents want to buy kids' books for their kids. And there's a lot of people that read fiction. And I just feel like there's got to be a way that would make sense to monetize these. So I feel like getting rid of them and throwing them away is a waste. Not only do I feel bad because there's so many kids and adults that could read these books, but yeah. But I want to figure out a way to monetize them. $350. Cool. Yeah. I found so far I found 12. Is it 12 books for FBA out of this Gaylord? So it's mostly been kids books and fiction and other random nonfiction, but it's been pretty heavy on fiction and kids. But I found which I need to send in soon, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it for this back to school, because it'll go about to September 10th or so. And it's already, August, 27th. So there's only about 2 weeks left in this textbook rush. So I'll see if I can get it to a warehouse soon enough. But if not, worst case scenario, that book will sell definitely in December, January, or February. But it's like a $50 book. I pulled that out, school book, and there's a couple others, 1 or 2 others that are high priced. But I still have some more to go through. So it definitely is, pulling only 12 out. If I get to even to 20, I'll be happy. So my point is that out of one Gaylord, only finding 20 even books, even if there's 5 of them that are going for $30-40, it's not that many. So there has to be a way, in order to do bulk for a good profit, there has to be a way to monetize the kids' books and the fiction, all those fiction books. There's so many fiction books. There's mass market of all different types, from romance to Western to mystery. Then there's all the hardcover fiction books, and then the trade fiction books. And then there's the nonfiction. There's good nonfiction books as well, whether they're memoirs or biographies or about some random topic. Cookbooks are really good. I sold a cookbook at the swap meet yesterday. It's a huge, I mean, the thing is really heavy. Really, it's like a massive paperweight, very heavy. And I priced it at $4 because online I think it was going for like $9 or $10. And I'm talking the merchant fulfilled Amazon price. So $4 is the cheapest you'll find it anywhere. I mean, cheapest you'll find it online for sure, or cheaper than online. So somebody bought it. We displayed it like at the front of the table, and the first person that started looking through it was like, "Oh, look at this!" And it's a really huge book, tons of stuff about, I don't know, it was about cooking in general. But they bought it for $4. They didn't even try to haggle because they felt that was a deal, considering how gigantic the book is, and it's a hardcover, and it's a nice looking book. Yeah, Dylan, I have gone to thrift stores. Yeah. For a while, for the last like couple months, I've been doing thrift stores. I haven't done it in a couple weeks, but yeah, I found some stuff for sure. Um, if I was doing just FBA, yeah, maybe. Okay, sorry. So Kofi said, for your information, someone buying books from all states and selling to Africa buyers. Okay, this person has contacted GovDeal, Goodwill, Salvation Army, and Half Price Books. So most of our books are now going to Africa. Kofi, you're saying you're doing this? You're sending them to Africa? And someone's buying them from you? Or how does that work? I mean, I'm more than happy to send books to Africa, but for free, I don't know. Are you talking about someone's buying them? Jeff says, starting out new, but my brain's running. Already have all equipment from wanting to learn, but always going after something else. How long have you been? Equipment. By equipment, Jeff, you mean like the scanner and the app for scanning, that kind of stuff? I've been doing Amazon. I sent my first shipment into FBA in September of 2014, so I'm going on to my 4th year. Kofi says, no, someone. Okay, cool. Yeah, you definitely just get started. The more books you scan, the more you'll learn. The quicker you'll get to finding the profitable ones, for sure. The sooner you can get to scanning 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 books, the quicker, the better you'll get, and the quicker you'll get at knowing what to send in. Honestly, the first like 3 to 6 months, probably closer to 6 months, I didn't know what I was doing. I was sending in a lot of books that were ranked way too high. And this was even in the days when there was no long-term storage fees for individual books. There was only monthly storage fees, which were really low. I mean, that first December, I hardly had any sales, but I was excited to get anything, but I didn't know what I was doing. But it's really important to scan. You want to find things, use FBA Scan, use, what's the other one? Scout IQ, whichever one it is, and find books that are profitable. You buy it for $1, at least after that dollar and all the fees make, I don't know, at least $3, $2. I mean, clearly you want to make way more, but I'm saying just make that profit. Scout IQ, yeah. Just get out, just scan a lot. Yeah. Whoa. CD sales, new CD sales have slowly gone down, but there's still, so there were more physical music sales, which is vinyl plus CD sales in 2000. It was either 2016 or 17. I think it was 17. Than digital downloads. It was like $1 billion of new vinyl records and CD sales in that year. A little tiny bit more, but still more than digital downloads. Not more than streaming subscription, but more than digital downloads. So you know that, first of all, vinyl continues to go up and CDs go down a little bit, but they're kind of staying pretty steady. And I don't think anytime soon artists are gonna stop putting out CDs. Will they go the way of cassettes or VHS tapes eventually? Maybe, but it's quality sound. There's quality sound on there, high quality sound. They're small. Most cars have CD players. When bands are on the road touring, they like to be able to sell merchandise. They can sell t-shirts and stuff, but selling their copies of their CDs is a great way. So I think CDs are going to be around for a long time. I find a lot of good CDs, so I agree with that. The problem is be making sure that you can sell on Amazon. You can sell them on eBay. There's great profit in CDs on eBay for sure. Masterson, how did the swap meet go? Not that great. I sold $169 worth of mostly CDs and kids books, a few other random things. Didn't go that great, but it was an experiment and it was worth it in the sense of learning. So now I know I don't want to do a swap meet. I might do a flea market. I might do a trade show. But anyway, yeah, that's to be determined in the future. So it's a 7:07 here. There's 22 of you here. I'd like to keep going, but I got to help put the kids to bed. So I got to call it. Unfortunately, I feel like every time I get this many people, it's I don't know. So I don't know. They seem to be the same thing. He's asking me what's the difference between a swap meet and a flea market. They seem to be the same thing. People set up their spots, put a table out, put a canopy up outside usually, and they sell their stuff. Sometimes it's new, sometimes it's used. A bunch of people show up and they usually charge to go in. Sometimes it's free, sometimes they charge a couple bucks. And you walk around and you buy the stuff. You can haggle. A couple of people try to haggle with me. It wasn't a big deal. I just wanted to get rid of the stuff, so I usually accepted their offer unless it was absurd. But what seems to make sense, or from what I understand, a swap meet, a flea market is above a swap meet in terms of potentially better quality, being able to charge more money, maybe being in a wealthier neighborhood. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what I have heard. So that might be part of the difference. But aside from that, I don't really know because they seem to be set up the same way. The flea market here in Pasadena, well, not here, but I don't live there. But in Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, where the Rose Bowl. Probably know the Rose Bowl if you don't live in California. They have a monthly flea market there, but it's a flea market, not a swap meet. And from what I understand, people sell stuff for a lot more money. Like even people that sell books and CDs, like you might be able to sell CDs $5 a pop there, and people will spend the money because the people that live in the area tend to have a little more money, and people know when they go there that they're going to have to spend a bit more. But again, I'm new to this, so I don't know 100%. But one more thing before I go is the software I use, the listing software. Yeah, for sure. But I know Jamal says that's a very wealthy area, Pasadena, and there's a lot of money in Pasadena for sure. But from what I understand, people come from all over to that one because it's once a month, and it's sort of the Rose Bowl's an iconic location because of all the events that go on there, the football and the soccer and everything else. And so it's known. The area is really known, and that flea market is known. So people go. I think it's been going on for a long time. I don't know exactly how long. Of course, the Rose Parade and everything. Pasadena has a lot of that stuff. Yeah, sure. You're welcome, Masterson. But I think people come from all over Southern California, would be my guess, because it's only 12 times a year. So there's that scarcity aspect. People are waiting. Oh my God, I got to wait 4 weeks to go back. What's going to be there? I can't wait. I'm going to bring a bunch of money. So that's probably kind of the thought process. So one last thing is I want to thank the person that signed up through AccelerList through my affiliate link below. It was the first sale, and I have hardly had anybody click on it. So I was surprised, but it's a great listing software, AccelerList. If you use something else, keep with it. But if you don't use any FBA Amazon listing software, AccelerList is what I've been using for a while now, and it works really well. And it was just crazy because I got that in my email saying that somebody signed up. So that was pretty cool. I want to thank that person. I hope it works out for them. This is not a video sponsored by AccelerList, but I do use it. I've used it for probably 6 months or so, and it is super helpful. And it's run by sellers and people that are super, what do you call it? They have a Facebook group and you can ask them questions, all that stuff. So I want to thank somebody for that. But yeah, guys, that's about it. The swap meet was a bit of a bust, but a learning experience, even though it was a bust. So maybe flea market in my future, maybe a trade show, probably more like a trade show. So I don't have to be out in the elements. I don't have to have a big canopy. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you are new to my channel, I do live streams. I try to do them 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, usually later in the day, late afternoon, early evening. You too, Jamal. Have a good night. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure you get the notification. That would be awesome. I'm trying to grow the channel. I love it when more people show up. We can kind of get a conversation going after I talk about whatever topic I'm talking about, whatever's going on. I've been reselling on Amazon for 4 years and eBay for like about 15 months, not that long. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're new, if you've been around a while, thanks for sticking around. Cool. Thanks, Jamal. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow and keep booking.